Welcome to our webcast on how to use a Now Next board. The webcast will go through why Now Next boards are important, what impact they have, which children might benefit from using a Now Next board, and how to use them. The most important thing to emphasise is that a Now Next board is a tool to provide the child with more information. This information is visual and therefore does not disappear like our spoken words. When using symbolic items in communication, it is important to understand the hierarchy of skills and match this with the child's development. First, start with real-life objects. Please see the Objects of Reference webcast for more information on this. Once the child is comfortable and familiar with objects, consider moving on to using photographs. These should be photographs of actual places or objects that the child is familiar with. That transition can be made by attaching the photograph to the object initially. If it is clear that the child understands symbolic representation, then symbols can be used to represent items and places. These should be consistent within a setting and ideally consistent with any symbols used at home. There are huge benefits of using a Now Next board. The use of visual representations of activities that are consistently used mean a child can hear and visually see language used. The system itself can be motivating for the child and offer opportunities to initiate and communicate activities and ideas for what they want to do, especially when a choice board is used in conjunction with a Now Next board. The use of pictures or objects will mean that the use of language will be reduced. This will reduce sensory input. It makes the activity safer as it is predictable, and this can be regulating for a child. The physical resources, transactional supports, can be made to be personal for the child. The good thing about a Now Next board is that it can be individualised to the child with developmentally relevant activities that are highly desirable. Now Next boards can also provide the child agency and choice. Please refer to the Support on Choosing boards, which will help to explain this in a bit more detail. But in brief, the child can be part of planning their day. They can choose activities and place them on the board. In addition to this, the system can be transferable between different settings and between the setting and home, which means that this predictability for the child continues in different contexts. Now Next boards can be used for language partners or conversation partners. If the child is a social partner, the objects of reference could be used for information giving and provide information about what activity is next. Some language and conversational partners may respond better to objects representing the activities and then using Now and Next basket and boxes instead of a photograph or a symbol. Now, who would benefit? A child who benefits from visual supports to understand and focus on spoken language would really benefit from a Now Next board. A child who needs support with transition and small changes would benefit from using a Now Next board, or a child who benefits from visual supports to help them focus. As a Now Next board is to provide the pupil with additional information, this creates a safe, predictable and a desirable environment. It is important that this support is used consistently throughout the day. This will give the child safety and predictability around them, even when other things change, such as when they transition into a different space, such as from inside to outside, or when they have to leave their parents or carers, or when the adult supporting the child changes. If everyone uses the board in the same way, with the same simple, short language, and the outcome from the picture is always the same, the child will understand what is happening and hopefully be able to regulate because of this. So, how to use a Now Next board? A lot of this will be just naturally part of how you interact and be with children. But what you would like to do is position yourself close to the child at eye level, either side by side or directly in front of the child. Try to be aware of how the child responds so that the child is comfortable with your position. Show the board to the child, point to the symbol or photograph and say, "Now bricks, next train." Try to use an engaging tone of voice, body language and facial expression to engage the pupil. Allow time for the child to process what has been said. Some children can take up to 10 seconds and sometimes longer to process information. If necessary, repeat using exactly the same language. Now bricks, next trains. While the pupil is engaged in their activity, it's important to share that experience with them. It also is important that the pupil knows how long they have to complete the activity. So it could be the use of a visual of until it's finished or until you have completed a tower of 10. More information will be coming on the next slide about this. As the Now Next board's purpose is to give information, an adaptation to the board can be a clear space to define how long the activity is going to be. This addition needs to be considered for each individual child and their knowledge of language and understanding. This could help the child to understand how long they have, such as until the end of the sound timer, or when they have threaded 4 beads. It could also be until a small group of children have all had their turn, if the child is able to understand turn taking and able to wait for a short time for each person. It is also important that the child can advocate for themselves and recognise when something is not enjoyable or difficult for them. The use of an object, such as being able to get their comfort blanket to indicate they need a break from an activity or environment, or to get a photograph or symbol to represent a need for a break, is an important part of using the Now Next board. The use of a switch card allows adults and children to recognise some activities are not as desirable as they thought, and for activities to be switched and changed. The unexpected card allows those moments of instantaneous change, such as a fire drill or an unexpected visitor. Again, by visual supports being used in this way, it allows for predictability, even when something unexpected has happened. What we would like for the use of a Now Next board is for a child to have developed a shared understanding of language. We want that child to help them understand what is happening to them, where to go and what to do next, and also for them to be able to make a choice and communicate. Thank you for listening to this webcast, and I hope it has helped you.